Introducing an all-powerful, all-new generation of Transformers. This is Headmasters issue 1, y'all. And this was a lot of fun. This was supposed to be a 4-issue limited series, and I think it went longer, just like the original Marvel Transformers comic series did. This is Ring of Hate. Writer was Bob Budiansky. Pencil artist was Frank Springer. Ink artist was Ian Akin and Brian Garvey. Letters, Diana Albers. Colorist was Nel Yomtov. Editor was Diane Daly. And editor-in-chief, Jim Shooter. And so I like that, even though Bob Budiansky, Nel Yomtov, they did a lot of the early Transformers, they still had time to do the miniseries because Hasbro relied heavily on Budiansky. And he even talked about in the Toys Who Made Us how, he'd start getting into an arc, like specifically the one with Blaster and the Space Bridge back in, what was it, issues somewhere in the teens and 20s, when you find out what the truth of the Space Bridge is. But he says he had to cut it short because he had to create new characters to pump for the next season of Transformers. He said, as a writer, that was really frustrating. So I'm glad that, he at least got to do interesting stuff here. Now we're on Cybertron. The planet Cybertron is a wound that will not heal. No sooner does it close up and its pain recede, flooding the scarred sphere with hope that it's ripped open anew. Sorry, what do you call it? There's a little bit of, what's that word called? Ink blotting, so it's hard to read. No sooner does it close up and its pain recede, flooding the scarred sphere with hope, than it is ripped open anew, bleeding, covering itself in kicking pools of black despair. And its pain resumes even worse than before. And there is much less hope left for the next time. And see, that to me is poetic. And it drives the story, because then we see Scorponok. I always forget how to pronounce his name, but he goes, "Move faster, Autobots scum, or feel the sting of Scorponok's tail." Watching a Decepticon commando unit incinerate their cities, taking the spring out of their steps, Commander. And the prospect of being reduced to slag in the smelting pool isn't quickening their pace either, trigger happy. And so we just see the Decepticons ripping in to these poor, disenfranchised, I guess the right word, Decepticons. Or Autobots. Not enough coffee. Anyway, compared to Action Comics, like I said, it was kind of a big, bold choice to do what he did. But here we're getting enough information plus visual storytelling to understand what's going on, and we feel the misery that is Cybertron. And of course, Autobots in the wings to help their brothers. And you've reached yours, Decepticons. Our brethren need help. Autobots transform. Just what I wanted to hear, Fortress Maximus. Let's party. Patience, Blurr. The commander will choose the proper time. The time is now, Hardhead. Roll out. It's interesting. In terms of Fortress Maximus, I've never seen Scramble City. I've just seen clips, which, from what I understand, is it does introduce Fortress Maximus into the cartoon lore. Same with Ultra Magnus, and it's supposed to be like a prequel or prelude to the '86 movie. So seeing Fortress Maximus here as a Autobot leader, and that was another thing that threw me off, and we've gone over, is how majority of the Autobots here on Earth, and we'll talk about it more in a minute, think that Optimus Prime is dead. There's been no communication with Earth for millions and millions, or from them for millions and millions of years. They have no idea where they are. And so everyone's just still trying to live up to what he set up. As we went over Transformers #1, Optimus Prime was the one that rose above from the Autobots fractions to finally be able to take on Shockwave and Megatron and Starscream. So anyway, to see him and Perceptor as these hardened battle leaders in the comic versions, freaking amazing. And then look at the old school art. Oh, hell yeah. Led by Fortress Maximus, the squadron of Autobots tears through the Decepticons' ranks like a buzzsaw through foil. And very quickly, the battlefield moves with one echoing moan of agony. Hell yeah. That's how you do some action. Now, I think this is Fortress Maximus's first appearance. I'm not 100% sure on that. However, what makes this book important and relevant is yes, the Autobots win. They go to their secret hideout, and everyone's celebrating. All right, we sure showed those Decepts, didn't we? Kicked them in their exhaust pipes. I can't wait till we tangle with them again. We'll send them straight to the scrapyard, a piece at a time. Fools, there is nothing to celebrate. And I don't know. I love this perspective shot with the Autobot logo there. It's very awesome. Cool, your engine's for it. We just won a big one today. Yeah, we showed those Decepticons who's king of the road. We won nothing, Kup, and we showed them nothing, Hot Rod. So in addition to, I think this is Fortress Maximus, this is also the first comic book appearances of Kup, Hot Rod, and Blurr. Granted, they don't have big parts, but the significance of it, that yes, I don't know if this, what was the print date again? Hold on, my brain's just all over the place. July 87, so I think the movie predates it. So Hasbro created, what do you call it? Kup, Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus, created them specifically for the show. But at least here, this a year later, 87, we get their comic book appearances, and as you can see, Hot Rod's not the leader of the Autobots, etc., so forth. What we find out about Fortress Maximus, we are no closer to achieving a final Autobot victory. Even when we win the battles we did today, we lose ground. Cities crumble, friends fall, innocents perish. And the Decepticons are more partners than enemies. We are connected by a circle of war and death and hate. It has no beginning and knows no end. And neither side has the courage to trust the other enough to break the circle. But what can we do to change this? Nothing except leave. Leave and go where? There. What? Abandon Cybertron? What of our Autobot brothers across the planet? I have observed Nebulos for many Yorns. And apparently, they explain what Yorns is right here. One born is approximately 83 Earth years, so it's been a while. It is at peace. No evidence of war taints its surface. Cybertron, as it spins through the cosmos, is passing near it now. I propose that all Autobots who desire peace come with me to Nebulos. There we can start over. And then you're thinking, that sounds familiar. But Fortress Maximus, thousands of Yorns ago, the great Autobot warrior Optimus Prime left Cybertron with many of his followers, and they were never heard from again. But his departure was unplanned, Kup. What difference does it make if we plan ours? Leaving's an act of cowardice? Do you accuse Fortress Maximus of cowardice, Hardhead? Remember what he did in battle today. No Autobot could be braver. So he's essentially saying, I'm not a coward. I'm tired. This war has no end. As he just said, there's a cycle, and neither side is willing to acquiesce. I'm tired of seeing brothers die. So those of you that want peace, come with me. Which is heartbreaking, but it makes sense. And so they take off for this Nebulos. And the people, there's a misunderstanding, which I don't want to give away because I want you guys to read this book. The Autobots come, which is Blurr, tries to say, I come, I bid you greetings. I'm Blurr, emissary of the peace-loving Autobots. Now, these Nebulos, they've lived in peace and prosperity for eons. But we realize that some individuals' aspirations are very lofty. And it causes tension, which brings this poor cat into having to bring out the weapons that have been stored for years and years and years. Elsewhere, in the remote Abersian range, a hovercraft snakes its way among the forbidden peaks and lands. A lone figure emerges, a man whose life is no longer his to control. Duty forced him to come here, and recent events pointed the way to this place, the place he prayed he would never see. And so the Autobots are dumbfounded, like, well, what could have happened? And Blurr saying what happened, which I'm being, what do you call it? I am being blatantly vague. Because I want you guys to read this. It was really entertaining. And I wasn't expecting the amount of heart and depth in this. The Autobots come, and these Nebulos people are ready to go full tilt war with them. And Fortress Maximus says, "Enough. Don't you hear what you're saying? You're suggesting we do the very things we came here to avoid. We must be brave enough to wage peace." And at the end, he goes, we beg only one thing in return, to be allowed to live in peace with you. They lie, Galen. Order Duros to begin the attack. And he goes, I will offer you the one thing. He goes, please, you must listen to us. We mean you no harm. Let us prove it. Autobots, disarm. You still doubt us? Then I will give you the most I have to give. My head. And essentially, with Fortress Maximus showing how devoted he is to peace and to not let this world fall like Cybertron, he's showing how far he will go. And it makes the Autobots pause, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But then they realize what he's doing, fall in line. And I can't wait. I want to find issue 2. I bought this because of the significance of the first appearances, but damn, after reading it I don't know. I know that they tasked Bob Budiansky to write this just to promote the cartoon. And I've said this a lot about the TV adaptations like X-Men, the Adventures, Batman, the animated series. They didn't need to go this hard. But damn, this is why these comics still stand the test of time and why they're so freaking awesome. So with that said, I'm not going to sit here and gush too much. If you guys have enjoyed what you see, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or where there's to get your action figures and comics and grab this series. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you want to hit that fancy little Headmaster bell, next subscribe. That was like into content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel. I love talking with you on hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure that the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.